Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
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 Gopi Jana Ballava Girivana Dhari
Pichana Balava Giribari Dari
Jaya Gopi Jana Ballava Girivana Dhari
Pichana Balava Giribari Dari
Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Sudananshana Brajajana Ranjana
Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Sudananshana Brajajana Ranjana
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Kṛṣṇa Bṛhāspati, Jaya Kṛṣṇa Bṛhāspati.
Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam. Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam.
Jaya Radhe Shyam,
Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Jai, thank you all of the devotees, several devotees who've come to the Bhagavad Gita class. You're all great and greatly elevated devotees that you've come. I see you every time I come. I want to thank you for coming, and then also I really want a special thank you for Mandakini to come, because I wasn't feeling so well, and I thought, how can I possibly give a decent class, which I can't give anyway. And then Mandakini was here, and she agreed to come. And Mandakini is the personification of surrender. She, at a very young age, understood what it was to surrender completely, everything. She surrendered to Srila Prabhupada in such a great way, and she has been serving selflessly since the 70s like this. And consequently, she's nurtured and helped develop this Russian yatra, which is a very significant yatra. And from the Russian country of Russia and Ukraine and Eastern Europe, many, many great devotees have come. Chaitanya Charan, right? And yeah, and Bhakti Vigan. Oh, wonderful, wonderful devotees, and she is considered the mother of Russia. So we thank her so much for coming, because I thought it'd be good, because this Bhagavad Gita is about surrender. And Mandakini, she can teach this because she's so well versed. So tonight we're doing 2 verses. I'm going to start with 24. No? Oh no, it's fine. Do we have a screen? Oh, we do. Great. Purodhasāṁ cha mukhyam viddhi pārtha bṛhaspatim senānīnām aham saṅkhya sarasām asmi sāgaraḥ purodhasāṁ cha mukhyam viddhi pārtha bṛhaspatim senānīnām aham saṅkhya sarasām asmi sāgaraḥ purodhasāṁ cha mukhyam viddhi pārtha bṛhaspatim senānīnām aham skandaḥ sarasām asmi sāgaraḥ purodhasāṁ sāgaraḥ purodhasāṁ ca mukhyam Pṛthā bṛhaspati senānīnām purodhasāṁ ca mukhyam viddhi pārtha bṛhaspati senānīnām ahaṁ skandaḥ purodhasāṁ ca mukhyam viddhi pārtha bṛhaspati senānīnām There's a poster, that's not much. Viddhi pārtha Bṛhaspati. You want to pull the microphone? When you speak. Okay, whenever you like. Purodhasāṁ of all priests, cha also, mukhyam the chief, mam me, viddhi understand, pārtha O son of Pṛthā, Bṛhaspatim, Bṛhaspati, senānīnām of all commanders, aham, I am, Skanda, Kārttikeya, sarasām of all reservoirs of water, asmi, I am, sāgaraḥ, the ocean. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A priest, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, Bṛhaspati. Of generals, I am Kārttikeya. And of bodies of water, I am the ocean. Purport. Indra is the chief demigod in the heavenly planets and is known as the king of the heavens. The planet on which he reigns is called Indraloka. Bṛhaspati is Indra's priest, and since Indra is the chief of all kings, Bṛhaspati is the chief of all priests. And as Indra is the chief of all kings, similarly, Skanda, or Kārttikeya, is the son of Pārvatī and Lord Śiva, is the chief of all military commanders. And of all bodies of water, the ocean is the greatest. These representations of Kṛṣṇa only give hints of his greatness. Om Ejnanatimrandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chaksu Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadanmayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Bharakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvarutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vidamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapati Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Janna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapaturvyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai. So Krishna is giving a small glimpse, reference points to how we can understand him and how we can contemplate, how we can become Krishna conscious, how we can fill our consciousness with information about Krishna. In the beginning of this chapter, he said, neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. So he's explaining nobody really knows him. And actually, we also know it's impossible to totally comprehend or even to deeply know the Lord because he is so vast. It's unlimited. And we are very limited. In the third verse, he said, he who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all worlds, he only, undiluted among men, is freed from all sins. It's kind of like the verse in the 4th chapter where he says, Jammakarma chame divyam, is that by knowing the transcendental nature of my appearance and disappearance, one doesn't come back to this material world, take birth again. And then in the 7th verse he said, one who is factually convinced of this opulence and my mystic power engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. And then finally, this is the glory of the devotees. This is the culmination. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So this is how we converse about him. Krishna gives us these little nuggets, so to speak, of information. And he compares these great, magnificent features. In this particular verse, it was Bṛhaspati and Lord Indra and Kārttikeya, because Bṛhaspati is the chief of the priest. This is a very elevated position. You can imagine if we had an opportunity to attend a sacrifice in which Bṛhaspati was presiding, how much awe and respect we would feel seeing him in action. And so, similarly, we have the opportunity to see the deities in the temple room. So we need to understand that same awe and venerance and respect is due to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So, the problem is in living entities, we are absorbed in ignorance. And these examples, these little analogies that he gives, he says he's only giving a few because it's so vast, there's so much. But we're so limited because of our conditioning. But by hearing these transcendental nuggets of mercy and contemplating them, it purifies our heart. It makes us more receptive to hearing more and more about the glories of the Supreme Lord. And from hearing this, it's like water. You know, you've seen a river go through a canyon of rocks. We have one in the U.S. called the Grand Canyon. It's basically a huge rock that has a big river that goes through it. And this river has been going through it for so long, it's etched its way down deep into this huge area, creating a canyon. And that's how these nectarine verses, this nectarine information is. It's like this nectarine amrita coming into our hearts and edging away our conditioning since time immemorial. So, the Kārttikeya is an interesting personality in that the demigods realized they were harassed so badly by the demons. They realized that they needed a great general. And they also realized that it would take a son of two great personalities, and that would be Pārvatī and Śiva. So they arranged for Kārttikeya's birth, so to speak. And Kārttikeya is extremely famous for his military mind, for his ability, and we see that Kṛṣṇa is really nothing for him also in military affairs. So, and then the ocean, and who doesn't have, and that's one of the wonderful things about many of these analogies, is that we see them all the time, right? We see the sun, we see the moon, we taste water. We have this connection with these things already. So when we just contemplate and understand that Kṛṣṇa is the taste of this water, Kṛṣṇa is eye is the sun. One of his eyes is the sun. We see a child running or anyone exerting a lot of, we understand that Kṛṣṇa is the life force of that living entity. Because in this way, Kṛṣṇa is bringing us closer and closer to him. The thing of it is, this material world, we came because we had some desire to enjoy separately. Some concept that we could be the God. And how'd that work out for us? It's not, right? To begin with, it has a temporary nature. Everything's always changing. There's the three modes of material nature upsetting balances of everything. There's adhyatmic, adhibodhic, adhidaivic. There's so much misery, so much suffering. And so it's like Kṛṣṇa he's created this world for us because we thought we could enjoy separately, knowing that we could never really enjoy separately from him, because our constitutional position is eternal servant of Kṛṣṇa. I can remember one time my daughter, she was about 3 years old, she got mad at me. You might have had that happen. And she decided she was going to run away, and she told me, "I'm running away, I don't want to live with you anymore." I wanted her to take a nap, and that was not in her idea as a good idea. But so I said, "Okay, I will miss you. Goodbye." And she left, and she took a couple little things, and I watched her, from behind the curtain, because of course I wasn't going to let her out of my sight. And I watched her go to the neighbor's house who had a friend the same age, and she knocked, and she wanted to play with her friend who was taking a nap. So that didn't work out. So she just kind of went about 6 feet away and sat down on the steps and played with her doll. And then got tired and came in. And that's kind of how we are. We're trying to enjoy this material world. And Kṛṣṇa is helping us in so many ways understand it's not possible. It's not possible. So he sends the Vedas to guide us. He sends his representatives to guide us. And he himself comes to bring us back home, back to Godhead. And so this ability to contemplate how great God is really quite great, right? I mean, in Christian religion, you learn God is great. And I think the Muslim, correct me if I'm wrong, Muslim religion, they greet each other with God is great. But how great is God? That's a great meditation in itself. We can absorb ourselves in these thoughts. So, these are wonderful manifestations that improve our consciousness and help us become more and more, and help us to speak about Kṛṣṇa more and more, and to share and enliven each other. And the purifying effect is so great. It's not an ordinary sound vibration. The sound has the ability to purify our hearts and raise our consciousness to increase love and devotion. You know, Srila Prabhupada's understanding of spiritual life is so exceptional. He gave us such foolproof system for becoming Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And these classes are powerful, and that, so we may hear it a lot, but know for certain that even if we think there's nothing happening, it's like that river going down the canyon, edging away the rock. These sound vibrations are edging away the rock in our hearts, the transcendental sound vibrations that will encourage us, enthuse us to engage in devotional service. And our hearts will actually become quite happy. Did you want to add something to that?
I really like your example of your little girl who was 3 years old. And it's actually our position with Kṛṣṇa. So it's really comforting to think that he's actually watching from inside, the house, looking through the window what we are doing, and always ready to rescue us. It's like all of us, we were discussing with the ladies just half an hour ago, all of us in this room, there was a special time when we were eager to find the answers to the crucial existential questions of life. And then Kṛṣṇa within, he was very attentive, and he made all the arrangements. For all of us, we had this special time in life. And then all the arrangements were made. So it's a beautiful example.
Would you like to do the next verse?
Should I? Yes. So dear devotees, I want to thank you all very much, to thank my dear God sister, Nagapatni Prabhu, because it's very unreal to talk about Bhagavad Gita together with all of you in Vrindavan. It's just very unreal. And for us who are visiting, we are not always there, so it is so special. I thank you all very much. So next verse is verse 25, same chapter, the opulence of the Absolute. So it goes, Maharshinam brigulaham giram asmi kamaksharam yagyanam chapayo yagyosmi stavaramam himalayaha. Maharshinam brigulaham giram asmi kam aksharam yagyanam chapayogyasmi stavaranam himalayaha. Maharshinam brigulaham giram asmi kam aksharam yagyanam chapa yagyosmi stavaranam himalayaha. Should we do? No, we don't? Okay. I just go to the translation. Oh, great sages, Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I'm the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I'm the chanting of the holy name, Japa. And of immovable things, I'm the Himalayas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma, the first living creature within this universe, created several sons for the propagation of various kinds of species. Among these sons, Bhrigu is the most powerful sage. Of all the transcendental vibrations, Omkara represents Kṛṣṇa. Of all sacrifices, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the purest representation of Kṛṣṇa. Sometimes animal sacrifices are recommended, but in the sacrifice of Hare Krishna, there is no question of violence. It is the simplest and the purest. Whatever is sublime in the worlds is a representation of Kṛṣṇa. Therefore, the Himalaya, the greatest mountains in the world, also represent him. The mountain named Meru was mentioned in a previous verse, but Meru is sometimes movable, whereas the Himalayas are never movable. Thus, the Himalayas are greater than Meru. Amatkanatimilondasya gyanam janam sarakaya shaksun militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So it's a beautiful chapter, beautiful verses, and Arjuna is asking Kṛṣṇa to tell him more about his all-pervading nature. So I take back a few verses from the same chapter where Arjuna is saying, please, dear Kṛṣṇa, tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all this world. O Kṛṣṇa, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardhan, again, please, described in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I'm never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. And Kṛṣṇa replies, he said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna. For my opulence is limitless. Thank you, we are all sick.
Sorry.
So, Arjuna wants to know about the all-pervading nature of Kṛṣṇa. Because he because he wants to think of him at every moment. But actually, do you think Arjuna needs to ask these questions to Kṛṣṇa? No, you said no. Because he already knows so much of Kṛṣṇa's nature. He knows Kṛṣṇa as his friend, his very intimate relationship. But he's asking all these questions for the common people, for all of us, because most of the common people, they want to see Kṛṣṇa or God in nature. they're not able to enter into very intimate relationship in the beginning. So he's very, very merciful. He's thinking of the welfare of everyone, so that people will be able to perceive the Lord in everyday's life while walking in nature everywhere. Actually, maybe dear Nagapatni also had the same experience when we were taking morning walks with Srila Prabhupada. He was showing us how to see the philosophy, how to see Kṛṣṇa in nature. For example, he used to look at the stool of the birds, you know, while taking morning walk. And he would say that not only human beings, but all living entities, they are creatures of habits, doing the same thing at the same place, like that. So when Kṛṣṇa is going to describe in this chapter his opulences, he's going to take the super excellent person or things of each category. So here he's talking about Bhrigu Muni. So you, probably all of you, you know, you have heard about Bhrigu Muni. But it's very, it's so tasty to hear and talk again about Bhrigu Muni. You know that long ago, on the bank of the river Saraswati, there was an assembly of great sages. And they perform a sacrifice called satra. And what do sages do in this kind of assemblies? What do they do? What do they do, sages, when they assembled? Yes, they talk about Kṛṣṇa, and they talk about spiritual topics. They have questions related to spiritual topics. So they came up with some very interesting questions. They say we have three predominating deities in this world. They occupy different functions. We have Lord Brahma, we have Lord Śiva, and Lord Vishnu. But which, and they all direct the affairs of the cosmos. So which one is actually the best amongst them? Which one is really in the mode of pure goodness? So they elected one sage among them, Bhrigu Muni, and they told Bhrigu, you should go to each other of them and find out who is the greatest. So you know that Bhrigu is the son of Lord Brahma. He went to his father, and to see who was really in the mood of goodness, he took the terrible task of making offenses to them. So the offense to Lord Brahma was actually an offense of the mind. When you approach Lord Brahma, whether we are a son of a disciple, we are supposed actually to offer respect or some nice words and of praise. But actually, he completely ignored Lord Brahma. He didn't offer any obeisances. He didn't offer any praise. And it was very, very unusual for Bhrigu Muni to do that. So Lord Brahma became very, very upset. And he said, Bhrigu, my son, didn't offer respect. He didn't offer any prayers. It's the duty of a son or a disciple to do that. And he started to become very, very angry at his son's impudence. But Lord Brahma is a very strong intelligence. So with this intelligence, he controlled his anger. And he didn't fall into a strong, passionate mood. And Prabhupada is explaining how Lord Brahma's anger and is controlling his anger is similar to fire and water. When fire was produced in the beginning of creation, it was actually extinguished by water. So Lord Brahma became very angry, but still he could control his anger. But he was not in the mode of pure goodness. So next person to visit of the three predominating deity was
Lord Śiva.
Lord Śiva. So he came to the Mount Kailash, and when Bhrigu Muni appeared, Lord Śiva was so glad to see him. He wanted to come and embrace him. But then the second offense was an offense by words. So then by words. So Bhrigu Muni became, pushed away Lord Śiva. He said, my dear brother, I don't want you to embrace me. You are so dirty. You are always, you smeared ashes and you are very, very dirty. Don't come near me. You are impure. And then Lord Śiva became very, very angry. He actually, because that offense was greater than the other one, it was an offense of speech. So Lord Śiva wanted actually to kill his brother. And he started to put his trident to actually kill his brother. But then came Pārvatī. Pārvatī can be also very angry, but she has a mix of the three qualities. So that time, she just begged Lord Śiva, he's your brother, he's Bhrigu Muni, please don't kill him. So Lord Śiva was not in pure goodness again. Then the last one to see was actually Lord Vishnu. And Svetadvip, Lord Vishnu was lying on a bed of flowers, and Lakshmi Devi was massaging his feet. Then that third offense was going to be the greatest of all. It's a bodily, physical offense. Then Bhrigu Muni came and he put his foot on the chest of Lord Vishnu. And he was waiting to see what was going to happen. So we can see that the offenses are actually progressing in degrees. So he actually not only put his foot, but he kicked the chest of Lord Vishnu. The goddess of fortune was present. And up to that point, the goddess of fortune really favored the Brahmanas. But that time she was so offended by the action of Bhrigu Maharaj that she was not kind anymore to the Brahmanas. And from that time on, most of the Brahmanas are very poor. They don't have the favor of Lakshmi Devi. So what will Lord Vishnu do at this time? He actually didn't react badly, but he came down, he offered his obeisances to Bhrigu Muni. And he said, "Oh, best of the Brahmana, I'm so sorry I committed an offense by not receiving you properly. Forgive me, forgive me." And he said, "It's my great fortune that you came here. Actually, you are so pure, you are so great, that the water with which washes your feet will actually purify me." And then he says, "Oh, my dear, dear father, great sage, your feet are so soft, like a lotus flower. And I'm so frightened that actually my chest is too hard and they hurt your lotus foot. Let me touch your feet. Let me massage you so I can relieve your pain." And Lord Vishnu started to massage the feet of Bhrigu Muni. And now he says, my chest has become sanctified because of your feet upon my chest. So from that time on, that's the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, she got a new name, Chanchala, meaning she can never remain very much at the same place, giving fortune, especially to the Brahmana. So now, Bhrigu Muni had completed this task given by the sages, and he could very strongly affirm that Lord Vishnu is actually the predominant deity in the mode of pure goodness. So he was a great sage, ready to do any sacrifice. He could have lost his life, but that's why he's the greatest sage. And Kṛṣṇa says, of all the great sages, I'm Bhrigu. Then in this verse, the syllable Om, Kṛṣṇa says, of all the, what was, of all the sound vibration, I'm the holy sound Om. So it's interesting, we don't have much time, but it's interesting to notice that in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11 verses started with the invocation Om. And you know the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it evokes all auspiciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it's 12 syllable mantra to worship Kṛṣṇa. And we use it when we do yagya. So Om is very auspicious. Just we have a few minutes, so just to talk about the Himalaya. Who has been to the Himalaya? Katya? Nobody? No?
I flew over.
Not yet. Okay. Just to tell you a little story. I'm serving a lot with a group of the Siberian devotees from Siberia. With very powerful preachers. The spiritual leader is called Valmiki Prabhu. He's going to take sannyas this year. And we take groups of devotees and newcomers, people who don't know much about Kṛṣṇa, to the Holy Dham. We always start with the Himalaya. Then we go to Jagannath Puri, Mayapur, Vrindavan. It goes crescendo. So Himalaya is a very special place of purification, of austerities. And actually, Lord Kṛṣṇa, as Narayana, that's the only place, if I'm not mistaken, where he came to do austerities in Badrinath ashram. A very special place. You feel like you are thousands of years before when you go there. So Himalaya, it's a place of greatness. It's magnificent. It's really an opulence of Kṛṣṇa. Waterfalls, snow, Actually, first time I saw a picture of the Himalaya golden, like a golden mountain. It was the mountain Nilakanta. And the sun was just setting, and the whole mountain was golden. That's when I got the desire to go to the Himalaya. And I asked this devotee, my body is very old, do you think I can go to the Himalaya? And he says, of course, of course. And that's how it started. And in the Himalaya, you have to remember the Lord, because it's like death is running after you. In these groups, there were quite a few people died going to the Himalaya. So it's very powerful purification before going to the other holy dham. It's a lot of adventures. So we can conclude with the beautiful passage where Lord Kṛṣṇa says that of all the yagya, actually japa. So we are very, very, this is very dear to us, and together we can recite the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 6th chapter, 242. I'm sure we all know it. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam. Kalo Anasteva, 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 Gatila Nyata. Once more. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam. Kalo Anasteva, 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 Gatila Nyatam. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. And Srila Prabhupada gives a purport to the importance of chanting the holy name in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's very beautiful, we can share it. The most important factor in this age of Kali, which is the notion of faults, is that one can be free from all contamination and become eligible to enter the kingdom of God simply by chanting the Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. He reminds us the self-realization that was achieved in the Satya millennium by meditation, in the Treta millennium by the performance of different sacrifices, and in the Dwapara millennium by worship of Kṛṣṇa, can be achieved in the age of Kali simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Lord's holy name. And it's very wonderful because Lord Chaitanya brought the chanting of the Mahamantra hardly a little more than 500 years ago. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's already stated that this is the highest yagya. And of that we could make seminar for years. But maybe devotees have some questions or something you would like to add, any comment, anything that is dear to you.
Thank you. It was really lovely to listen to both of you. What I would like to hear is at least one incident you had with Prabhupada, however close. That would be good to know about your memories, at least one of them.
Well, I was very fortunate to live in LA when Srila Prabhupada had spent 8 months there. And every morning, Srila Prabhupada would go out on his walk, and then he would come back and greet the deities. But before he greeted the deities, he would greet the devotees. And this was a very special, sweet, it was family-like, We would line up in front of the temple, and he would come out of the car from his walk, and someone would give him a basket with some flowers in it. And we had all picked flowers from somewhere in the neighborhood. It actually caused us to become a little bit unpopular in the neighborhood.
We called it to rescue flowers.
And then Prabhupada, he would give each devotee a flower, and each devotee would give him a flower and pay obeisances. And sometimes he would pat you on the head, and sometimes not. Sometimes he would speak to you. He'd ask you how you were doing. The thing about Srila Prabhupada that was so significant, and all of us will tell you this, is that Prabhupada was so amazingly personal with each person. And you had the feeling like you've known this person for a long, long time. it wasn't, he was very personal. And through this, he would give so much compassion. And he could tell. If somebody was having some challenges or difficulty, he could tell. One time we went to give Prabhupada flowers not flowers, but cookies at the airport. And so a friend of mine was very smart. She knew where Prabhupada would be coming down the escalator. You know what an escalator is, those stairs that come down. And so Prabhupada's coming down, and behind him are all these sannyasis. And she stood right in front of Prabhupada with the cookies. And Prabhupada took a cookie and he started smiling, talking to her. He even took a bite. Meanwhile, all the sannyasis, they can't go. They have to start walking up the escalator backwards because Prabhupada's not moving. Don't think Prabhupada wasn't aware. He had such a great sense of humor. He was very sweet and loving like this. But it was, I messed up there. You.
It's so sweet. So, can you hear? Okay. It's when Srila Prabhupada came to Paris about sound. He started to talk about the holy name in a big hall called the Salle Pleyel. And he started to, when he came to a new place, Srila Prabhupada was taking into consideration the culture of the country. So he knew that in France, a lot of people are Catholics. So he started quoting the Bible. And he said, in the beginning was sound. He started like that to introduce the holy name. And there is one very beautiful story that shows Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and it's about the holy name. It's told by a devotee, god brother. Unfortunately, I forgot his name, from India. He says he was a new devotee, maybe just initiated or brahmachari, no, just initiated, and he was in one of the temples, and a man came, and that man told him, I would like so much to be initiated by Srila Prabhupada. And he says, I'm very sad because the temple president told me I have to stay 6 months in the temple and to sweep the floor, to clean the floor. And he showed his legs. His legs were big like that. I think we call it elephant disease. And he was in very, very poor health. He couldn't stand. And it was like glass, you know, the skin was like glass. And if he would sweep every day the whole temple, he will die. So he said, I cannot do that. I don't know what to do. I would like so much to be initiated by Prabhupada. What can I do? Can you help me? So the devotee said, you know, I'm just very new. If the temple president told you that, there is nothing I can do. But come, Prabhupada is here. Come tomorrow. He will have darshan at 5. Try to come a little before, and you never know, you can talk to him. So, they were, he could see the man was from South India, like him. So he said, you will bring a plate of fruit, coconut, and you cover it, and you bring to Prabhupada. You know, we do like that to sadhu. So the man came very early, maybe 4 o'clock, and with his plate covered with a handkerchief, and he had this bead bag with beads. And somebody came and said, oh, Prabhupada is ready for darshan, if anybody is here. But because it was so early, he was the only one. So he came and he was alone with Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada told him to come in. You know, Prabhupada was sitting under the low table, as usual. And Prabhupada says, yes. So the man was very shaking, trembling. So, Prabhupada, I would like to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says, oh, you know how to chant Hare Krishna? So the man says, yes, yes. So he said, give me your japa, can I see? And he took the japa out of the japa bag. And Prabhupada, with this beautiful aristocratic gesture, started to chant on the beats. He started, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he went to the next. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he went to the next and the next and the next. And he chanted all around like in the time of initiation. And he gave the beats. And the man was just in ecstasy. Actually, Prabhupada, without contradicting the temple authorities, he initiated that man into the chanting of the holy name. So the man went home and he started to chant every day so much. And the Prabhu left for some other duties. When he came back, he asked about that man. And he went to the house and he was told the man had left the body. But while when he couldn't move, he couldn't even go to the bathroom. There was a big picture of Prabhupada on the wall, and he was always chanting Hare Krishna in front of the picture of Prabhupada. He left his body like that, and when he departed, they tried to get the beads out of the fingers, and they couldn't. It was so hard, you know. He was holding the beads Srila Prabhupada chanted. So he was doing the highest yagya, japa, because of Prabhupada's mercy. Haribol. Thank you.